This is where the fun begins.
I'm telling you, this finale, it's unbelievable how tepid contemporary art seems compared to the passionate quality of this finale. So you have this like huge, like it's like romantic nature painting, apocalyptic landscape of the lava. Lucas cross-cuts the destruction of the Senate chamber, and you have the destruction of industry going on. And then, after all these horrors, it is so beautiful. I'm saying, oh my God, nothing in the last 30 years in any of the arts has been produced as emotionally compelling and significant as the finale of Revenge of the Sith.
Are you sure? So be it. Did you miss me?
CAF. Lots of it. For me and for the Ready Room. I have a feeling this mission is not one we can fly in our sleep.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our weekly CAF chat. I see people are hopping on, and thank you for always tuning in. I know it's been a hit or miss for this last, 2 months, I guess you can say. But I'm here, and we're here, and I just want to check in. How you guys doing? Our program will be as regular scheduled. However, last week I wanted to do something for my birthday, and I was planning on it for Thursday's CAF chat, but I was away for my birthday as well. And so I decided just to disconnect and enjoy my birthday where we're at, since we were off on a mini vacation with each other. So with that being said, so I'm kind of celebrating here with you guys today. Yeah, another trip around the sun. Yeah, if you guys think about it, we ourselves as individuals has our own new year. And that new year is every year, basically on our birthday. So very interesting to think about, right? So made my trip around the sun, and now I'm continuing again. And so here's to another wonderful year, and also another wonderful year with you guys here on my channel and on my social media that's related to my channel. And thank you for the continued support. You guys are amazing. So we have people still hopping on, and we are live Rumble. We are live here on YouTube, and we are live there on Twitter. Twitter's a place that's more of a marketing live stream, just giving people a chance to see what my CAF chat or my lives are all about. And so if you're listening on Twitter, hey, come over here, Rumble or YouTube, and come hang out. I don't have Twitter up, so I'm not engaging with you guys in the comments there. So it is what it is. You can come over here and chat it up with us. CAF chat. That's what it's all about. So with that being said, good morning. If you're somewhere else in the world, whatever part of the day it is for you, then I hope you're having a good one. I have my mug here. What's in your mug? And mine is just basically my husband made coffee, and he uses Folgers, so it's Folgers. Yes, Folgers with a little bit of cream. That's it. a little bit of cream, and I will be probably using or going back on camera again here pretty soon. So just cleaning out my computer so that the memory and all that stuff can support it. I do a lot on my laptop here, including, creating things on digital art, or scanning things that I've painted on so I can clean it up for prints, all of that. So yeah, so that's coming up pretty soon. And yeah, so let me see who's in the chat. And let's see here. We have Arvato here, one of my mods. So Assassin, what's up? Smash the like. Do what he says, you guys. Share the stream out. And thank you so much. It's been a week. So I'm a week in on my new trip around the sun, basically. And it's been great. It's been good chilling with the family, having a small little vacation time at the coast, all of that. Everything is good. So let's see. So what's up to everyone? And thank you so much. So follow me on Twitter. That's where I guess you could say, for my channel, that is the host social platform for my channel. So follow me there. If you guys know what had happened, my original one is gone. I asked for Twitter X to take it down. And so I have a new one. So go over there if you haven't had a chance to follow me and you do have Twitter access, please do. All right. And we have Conrado all the way from the Philippines. What's up? How are you doing? And then we have Cannonball the Dragon. Hello, how are you? Mike is here. I got the Star Wars Heritage Pack from Switch last week. 7 classic games. Most I have yet to play. What? Okay, so which games are on that? I don't know about the Heritage Pack. So if you want to share here for those who may not know, I'm pretty sure everybody else does. Like, I haven't been keeping much up on the game atmosphere. So there's things like when people talk about games, I'm just listening because I can't contribute and learning. I know I guess you can say I'm similar to Matt Wilkins on that aspect with Star Wars. That's my weak point, is the games. So yeah. So let me know. And Nazo, hello, how are you doing? And I always love it when he comes in here with some Mando. The Mando language, some Mandalorian. All right. And the backseater, how are you doing? Oh, that old jingle for the commercial. Okay. So you guys know I am what you call a baby Gen Xer. Okay. So if you want to get to know what area of the timeline of Gen X I am at. And it's fun to say too that that like Star Wars is a baby Gen X 2 platform. That's when it began. So so there's just a little history there. So now what I'm getting at here, got kind of long-winded there. How many of you guys remember, and this can even go with maybe older millennials and stuff like that, all the jingles or all the what you would call score for movies, they would say jingle for commercials, all the songs, the classical songs for some commercials. There were some funny ass ones, some like, you say cheesy ones, all of that. But there was mostly a lot more jingles for commercials than there are now. Now a lot of commercials get licensing rights from the artists and use their songs, but switch it up more so now than in the past. So here we go. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. There you go. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. All right, what's everyone drinking? I got H2O. I had H2O earlier this morning, so I started my day off with H2O. In fact, my damn cat woke me up. Yep, Darth Toby woke me up, and I was like, damn, I feel thirsty. So I went and got some water and then went back and crawled into bed. And Darth Toby, he raises hell sometimes. He likes sleeping next to me, but in the morning when he gets hungry, if I don't have my hair in a bun or like kind of wrapped up or in in a rubber band or whatever, he'll come and start licking on my hair. And I know that means he's hungry because I already know his personality and stuff. And so he starts pulling on my hair and stuff, trying to wake me up and all this other stuff. And so I had to kick him out. Oh, fun times with a cat. All right. And what's going on here? OG, I made it through Lando and the Mine Harp of Sharu. I gave it 3 out of 5. Okay. All right. I love to hear, no matter who you are, what you're reading. I'm gonna say who you are. Geez, that sounds kind of weird, huh? I should say no matter what. Like if you're returning to the EU after giving Disney a try and stuff like that, I'd love to hear what you're reading and your opinion about that. Creating a conversation. And that nerd to my, and how are you doing? I hope I read that right. Let's see here. And Conrado here. Why do Lucasfilm execs hate Luke so much? Probably the reason why they don't like Lucas. Think about it. So this past week, I have seen a lot of like hate towards George and stuff like this. And someone saying how I guess Disney did everything better. Like George just inserted himself as Luke and Anakin and stuff. And we're going to get into some things like that. And we know, everybody knows, Ahsoka 2 trailer came out. And teaser trailer came out. And people, so this is part of the agenda today, and I'll tell you the agenda. And so people are basically saying, oh, this is Heir to the Empire. And so you have that talk going on. So today, of course, CAF chat. We are in CAF chat. Cringe factor. Then, we also have Lucas Facts and Book of the Week. And, and just here, New Jedi Order. We are moving on. Woo, and I did not make the PowerPoint for that, but we are moving on to Force Heretic 1, and we're getting into the state of the galaxy during that time. So we're just going to talk about introduction to it, basically that timeline of events, and then I think I want to get into the New Republic. It's not really the New Republic anymore. And next week, and really talk about them next week. So I do have some notes, but I think I can have come up with some better not come up with better information, but I think that there's more that I need to expand on with that. So I think we will talk about that next week. So we're talking about the introduction, where we're at in the timeline of New Jedi Order. So a bunch of that. How many of you guys read Force Heretic 1 and 2? And what do you guys think about it? Let me know. And there's no right or wrong answers. This is one here that is a hit and miss. And I have learned that's more or less a miss for a lot of people, or maybe just average for how it's written and stuff like that. So let me know in the chat. All right. Please play some old Star Wars games. Yeah, I have a few on my laptop here. I just have not had the time to really sit down and start getting used to the mechanics on the keyboard and stuff for that, or finding a controller that I can hook up so I can play. And so there's that. Not an excuse, just what's going on. Once I do, I will figure out how I can live stream it so that you guys can have fun seeing me relearn the gaming, mechanics. It's been a very long time since I played. We had bought, and I think my son at the time was 8 years old, but we had bought an old Atari game. And you know how the controller, you have the joystick and then a couple buttons or whatever. I used to love playing Ataris. We're like, and my son's a big gamer. He's a big gamer. And he's the one that was in the Marines. So we are like, hey, come here. And he's like, what? And it's like, come play with us. And he's used to the customary joy, game controller now with all the buttons on the sides and top, all of that. And so we hand him the joystick and he's like, what is this? And so we're like, play. But because there's only minimum of usage of buttons and stuff like that, he basically was so pissed because he couldn't get it. He was losing and stuff. So yeah, it was funny. It point is that we rely today more on, especially our generations now, the newer generations, on simplicity. But I don't know, having a game controller that has like so many buttons where you press and is that more simple than the Atari joystick? So I don't know, but we thought that was funny because he's like, I can't do this, and he was like getting all mad, and we're like, come on, gamer, it was so easy for you to do things. And so fun bonding time. Of course, we all laughed about it later. So yeah. So eventually I will re-explore the gaming atmosphere. All right. So let me see who else is here. Mike says the 7 games on it are KOTOR. Okay, I think you guys are telling me now because I see the backseater. KOTOR 1 and 2, Jedi Outcast, Jedi Academy, Republic Commando, Episode 1 Racer, and Force Unleashed. Oh, okay. All right, that's cool. Sounds like that would be something worth having. Especially if you'd never had them, or you had them when you were younger, I guess you could say littler. That would be something to have. Let me see here. I wonder if Scran's streams were taken down because of those classic Star Wars commercials, because it's a crock to take down a stream for reading a down book. Well, Professor Geek, someone that I follow here on YouTube, I like to listen to his videos and stuff, and I would love to interview him for talking to you. He does book reviews, and he's done a lot of Expanding Universe original Star Wars book reviews, and those were also copyrighted, same as Scran. And it's the AI automotive system, so there's no human reviewing. It's just their automated system, and so that right there is very, very flawed, very, very flawed. So so we'll see, because when you have something going on with a copyright and all this stuff, they will basically, they should tell what part of even if it's not the whole video, usually they would let you know what content is being flagged for copyright and need to be taken down or whatever. So, and copyright for a whole video to be taken down, then they're claiming the whole damn video. So the AI system is for YouTube. So that right there is very, like I say, AI is very, very flawed. Yes, it is being developed, and you could say it's getting more intelligent, smarter, but then also it's dumb. When you search things on the internet and you do it through AI and stuff like that, it will go and search, and then it'll cite its sources, of course. And so when you look into the sources, because you should always look into what AI is giving you, where AI is getting the information, to verify how true or not it is. Because I found more times than not, there's a lot of flaws in that too. There's a lot of flaws in that. So don't trust AI to be something that could be factual to check for you. Don't trust AI to be clear and concise on giving facts and the truth. And I have learned too, how you word something will determine what you're going to get from them too. So you can purely manipulate AI as well. So there's that. And then you also have, the control of the internet and the narrative of whatever's going on in the society today on what's going to be shown and stuff, so it's all controlled. It is flawed, all of that. So let's see here. Luke, Leia, and Han missing in the Ahsoka trailer. Well, you would think that because this is the timeline where Luke is active, Leia is active, and maybe Han already gave up on Leia and took off, that they would be somehow involved in this threat. Thrawn again. But, it is, and we'll get into it. So let me see who else has hopped on here. I think I said hello to everybody but we have a lot more people hopping on right now. And again, if you're on Rumble, hello, how are my Rumbleites over there? If you guys have not subscribed or followed on Rumble, feel free to go over there, create an account if you haven't, and go ahead and follow. Subscribe is becoming a member, so the language is slightly different, but it all means the same. So you're supporting through just subscribing or becoming a part of the channel as a viewer, or you are becoming a member and donating to the channel. So thank you guys so much for continued support. And as a birthday gift, that would be awesome if you guys did that. I'm gonna throw that out there. That was cheesy. I know, that was fucking cheesy. I know. But, I just gotta throw that out there. All right, so with that being said, let's get into our Lucas facts. All right, our Lucas facts. Let's see here. Where is that?
That's great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
All right, Lucas facts. Here we go. And because we're talking about Ahsoka too a bit for for the discussion here, and you have Clone Wars flashbacks, because that's apparent. That's what they're talking about, because they can't write their own independent story without having all this other stuff coming in to jingle the keys. Like one key jingle is Anakin, right? I thought that I would share something from Clone Wars 03. The Clone Wars are a major event in history of the Star Wars universe, and because it's a war, there is a lot of action and a lot of adventure and a lot of things going on. Okay, George is a lot of. But in the film, we don't really get to deal with that very much. We kind of start the Clone Wars in one episode, we end it in the next episode. But when we never actually see the war. And so by doing the animated series, I feel like I need to be in George's voice, right? It was a great opportunity to fill in some of the blanks in the middle, where you get to deal with adventures of the war and all things that went on during the war, because obviously that's a very fertile ground for exciting storytelling. So this is George Lucas bridging the saga, Star Wars Clone Wars DVD featurette. So I know everybody, hands down, or the majority of you guys here listening, wherever you're listening at, hands down, favor Clone Wars 03, Genndy Tartakovsky's Clone Wars over TCW. And what turned out to be, to get people interested and curious about Clone Wars under Star Wars and stuff, like kind of like a little like featurette kind of commercial for Star Wars, turned into being mini featurettes of an actual story. And that was brilliant. And George loved what Genndy and his crew did, that he wanted to bring Genndy in to create the animation department and the future Clone Wars stories. And negotiations, all of that just fell through. So Genndy was always the first one George wanted. Always the first one. The one he wanted. And because the negotiations fell through, they just couldn't come to terms on what they both wanted and expected of each other and stuff like that. And Genndy walked away. George still had the vision of the animation department and still continuing on the Clone Wars story. And so we have here now Filoni. We have Dave Filoni. And let me go ahead and play this because we know that he basically is very prideful, acts like he understands things, and it's far from the truth. And this is going to go into first a franchise that he doesn't belong in, and next another the current franchise that he's working for, Disney Star Wars.
I can always point to two female characters that made a huge impression on me. One would be Leia, the other would be the character of Eowyn from Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. I won't go into that, it's not my franchise, but Lynn will appreciate that I don't. But the idea that Eowyn slew the Witch King, slayed him, blew my mind as a kid. I had to go back and read that chapter several times in a row right there. Because as a young boy, I had never come in contact with that concept. But this woman took out this main terrifying villain.
All right. So he completely does not understand and did not click in his fucking head as he got older, because he said his mom read him the books, right? So as you're young, you're not going to really maybe get into the dynamics of what really happened when the Witch King was killed, and what was the main thing that was the catalyst to the death of, or the destruction of, the Witch King, right? And that would be the dagger. That would be who had the dagger, right? And then that weakened, he was already weakened from the dagger, all of that, and that gave Eowyn a chance to do the final blow. So you can say it wasn't just her. Wasn't just her. And you would think that as you grow up and you revisit the stories and you start getting into the philosophy and the dynamics behind that maybe 2 and 2 would click, right? Obviously not. All right, and so this one right here.
And I've always leaned towards if we're going to create something, we should check and see if it existed already to the fans, because it has way more value if we bring that in. And It's like, why would I just replace it with something new? So if we're going to do an admiral, if we're going to do a big military leader, yeah, I could create a new guy, sure. But what about Thrawn? Thrawn is great. Thrawn is a character we all know. Thrawn has a lot of credibility. So then you ask yourself, is it right to use him? And can we use him in a way that's similar to the books? Or are we using him and it's going to go completely into left field? And there have been times when we wanted to use things from the EU, and I was like, yeah, but we can't use it that way, so why? I don't want to use it and change it. Mm-hmm. I don't want to use it and make it something completely different. That's rude.
Welcome, purist. All right, so let me go ahead and play this. All right, where is it?
Because there's a fucking gatekeeper. There's a fucking gatekeeper.
All right, it's cool, purist. I have missed or jumped on to support you guys on your live streams late, or missed it and had to catch the replay because life. And that's pretty cool that you're cooking and enjoying yourself and stuff. But thank you for hopping on and supporting on the Rumble side. And again, everybody, last week I thought I was going to do a birthday stream. I ended up deciding just to enjoy my time while we're away from home, and totally just take in the views, the shops, my friend's yoga studio, all of that, and the art galleries there. That I just, I figured a disconnect would be good, and that I can always just catch up with you guys here the following week. So here we are. And again, kind of a birthday stream, kind of not, but just, letting you guys know, thank you guys for your support all these years since I started this channel, or I recreated this channel to be George Lucas era Star Wars platform. And you guys are amazing. And, I'm a week into another trip around the sun, and it's going to be phenomenal, And like I said, myself, I'm a baby Gen Xer, I guess you can say. And Star Wars is too. Star Wars is a Gen Xer. So that's fucking cool, right? That's fucking cool. All right, so Gatekeeper, and I don't know, what are you cooking? What's on the menu today? Go ahead and share. I'm interested. All I had was a waffle here this morning, and now I'm sipping on coffee. I had water earlier. Dave Filoni proceeds to take things from the EU and changes it. Correct. Thank you so much. And those who follow, you know, like when the eclipses are happening, just maybe out of curiosity or whatever, the solar eclipse was on my birthday. So that too was very interesting. I know where I live at in the United States, we couldn't see it at all. So you would have to either be on the northern east coast of America or like Iceland, Greenland, and United Kingdom to get the totality, be able to see. The Pierce versus theory debate, laugh my fucking ass off. I see. I know you were talking about that in the chat. I can't wait. Baby, I can't wait. Dun, 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 dun. Who knows that song? I mean, it literally, I just said the title. And let me see here. Yes, hello. How are you doing? Crouching Tyler and Hidden Swift. I always get a kick out of that handle. And made some edits and added additional receipts. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I was reading some too. Woohoo! All right. Okay. I thought you were like cooking, not creatively cooking, but actual cooking. I took you literally, and I'm like, what did you cook? But I am excited to see what you added. All right, not just changes, but not just changes, but completely butchered the EU. Correctamundo. And let's see here in Silver Org. Hello, cheers to you. Thank you so much. All right. It's fucking amazing to, have spent another year here with you guys. Yeah, fucking amazing. And this is how I feel right here. Let me go. There it is. There we go. So with that being said, let's get into our book of the week. Book of the week. I miss doing this with you guys. Like when I have, I go a week off and week on. It's not a good thing to do for me, for you guys, for the channel, all that, because we lose the connection. The connection is very vital for all of us. Talking about what we love, laughing, and talking BS about what we hate. So very, very fun. Thank you guys. All right. So book of the week.
I hate to say it, but it looks like the item you're searching for doesn't exist.
Impossible. Perhaps the archives are incomplete.
If an item does not appear in our records, it does not exist.
It does not exist. And so here we go with the book of the week. So more or less a short story. And since, like I said, I'm going off the momentum of the themes here today, talking about Ahsoka, how they're comparing it to Heir to the Empire, and how, Timothy Zahn created Thrawn and all this other stuff. So author, this is, I don't have the title up here. So this is Changing Seasons. I didn't put the title. There's no really any cover artist or anything for this short story. So usually I use the cover of a book or the image with the name on it, but it's called Changing Seasons. And it's in Star Wars Insider 76, Part 1, 77, Part 2. And those came out May and August of 2004. And this is about the timeline about near 22 BBY. And Changing Seasons was a short story written by Timothy Zahn that appeared in 2 parts. Guardian of the People in Star Wars Insider 76 and People of the Guardian in Star Wars 77. So the clever way of how he switched the names around in part 1 and part 2. It was also included in the Czech language anthology. So, you know, the Czech, they had their own version in their own language. And so there you go. Book or short story of the week. Have you guys read this? Do you guys know of this story? I think I will go to Insider and pull those stories out. I have digital copies. Pull those stories out and share them on my Discord book of the week so that you guys can, if you haven't read them, you can go ahead and save them and read them yourself. Read them yourself. Using EU reference as a jingle and keys, correct. And I'm waiting for Disney to make Thrawn together a moral gray enemies to lovers romanticizing series. Oh, fucking A. And the way that they depict their villains in Star Wars, like even for Thrawn in the Rebels, they don't know how to write villains. Oh, well, what about Andor? And that right there, you also have a lot, you got to question a lot with that too. So with that being said, you know, a character, a protagonist, or the good guys are only as strong and believable as the villain, right? And so far from Ahsoka season 1, holy shit. It's like you thought that Thrawn was dumbed down in Rebels. I mean, Rebels, like Thrawn, like when you see how he's written and how he's always on top of things and knows all these like species and stuff like this, whether it's through art or not, just like studying them. He doesn't know about the space whales and how to protect his fleet or his ship from a space whale, even though he's supposed to come from the unknown regions where there's so many fucking threats. Are you fucking kidding me? And that begins the downfall of this. And you know, you would say, okay, Timothy Zahn, he knows his character. So when he was now rewriting Thrawn's story for Disney and remapping him where his name isn't really his name anymore, that because he was adopted. So he did that. And then he wasn't born on Chiss. He was born somewhere else within the Chiss ascendancy. He's changed up a lot, even though he says, oh, I want them to still coexist with what I wrote prior to Disney. That's fucking bullshit. Myself, Tim, or United Spacers Alliance, and I think even Pierce has talked about this, how completely Thrawn is different from the original to the Disney version. And you could map that out clearly. And I did, like I said, I made a video and I should make another one. I probably will wait until Ahsoka's done so I have more to show and compare. But they are 2 completely different beings. And also who they interact with does change the story. So whoever's around, like the antagonist and the protagonist, they affect each other, their character and arcs and stuff like that. And Ahsoka ain't fucking Ahsoka isn't Luke Skywalker. Let's rephrase that because that sounds crazy. Holy shit. So Ahsoka is not Luke or Leia or Han. She's not even George, or she's not even I was gonna say George Cardass. She's not even Talon Card. So how an antagonist interacts and vice versa with the other is how it's going to impact and the character development's going to be. It is the canon, Timothy Zahn on Disney Star Wars, correct? Correct. So all of that has effects on how the character, how true the character is being displayed, shown as. It's not just like the character set up just individually, like what he likes, what is his intelligence, how does he respond, but all of that is also affected through the environment that they're created in and the people they interact with. There's a lot of factors there. There's a lot of factors there that play into the character. Let's see here what you guys are saying. I already shared this one right here. And when you deal with outside threats, you would think you'd encounter space wells on at one point. Correct. And that's what that's basically what I'm saying as well. And if he's exploring these far outsiders kind of deal, which I think Disney given that type of threat a different name other than what it is being said about the Yuuzhan Vong. So if you're dealing with these unknown region species, that these big threats, and then one big posing threat from outside the galaxy, you're going to know what you're dealing with in the galaxy, right? I mean, seriously. All right, best enemies to lovers, Luke and Mara. Yes. And like her real like her like in the beginning of the Thrawn trilogy, we slowly start seeing as Luke comes into play with Talon Card and them, and how he was rescued, and how that rescue from him getting out of the interdictor beam or whatever that was holding him. And what was that maneuver he used again? I forgot what he called it, but and then Mara finding him after he's stranded out of nowhere because he jumped like maybe like one direction, and he fell out of that jump into where he didn't know where he was, basically. And Mara located him and stuff like that. But getting into the introduction of Mara and how she feels about Luke, and then just realizing how much she dislikes him, and then getting into book 2 and a little bit more is being revealed. And then we get into book 3 where a lot more is being revealed, but then also who Luke is to Vader and the realization of all these puzzle pieces falling down for her to realize that how she was just being a tool for the Emperor. That is brilliant writing in itself. And Filoni cannot match that whatsoever. And that really, really makes an interesting dynamic, because at the end, Luke is like, I want you to join us. Would you consider? And he gives her, his father's lightsaber as a gift, because he recognizes that, she has Force abilities, obviously. And it was kind of like a unforeseen gift of the future of where they're going to be together in their lives, I guess you could say. Kind of like, kind of like a whisper of fate in a sense. So Lucas says, hello, Lucas. How are you doing? Anakin on Disney appearing to Luke and Leia after Return of the Jedi, appearing to Ahsoka, checkmark instead. Yeah, and before we get into that talk, we are going to get into New Jedi Order. We're going to get into that here pretty soon, because we are in the timeline events of Force Heretic 1. And I'm going to give you a summary. We're going to talk just a little bit about it, just so that we get into that timeline and start moving further. So we're over halfway done now. Over halfway done, but we're in the Force Heretic 1 and 2 timeline of New Jedi Order, and where basically the New Republic is at the moment. So we'll get into that. Hello there, people. Force crush that like button. Yes. Do it. I need that. I don't think I have that clip on here where he says do it. I need that. The Chiss are the Roman soldiers for outside the borders. Okay. I opted for Return of the Jedi and Force kicked the like. Awesome. And yo, and some Buns Book, how you doing? Yo, happy birthday, OG. Hope it's fun one and wishing you all the best. It was. So it was a week ago, like a little over a week ago. And August 12th. But because I decided to just disconnect completely and just enjoy where I was at, we didn't have a birthday live stream like I was hoping or I planned to. So it's a little bit of like, hey, thank you for your support, for another year around the sun for me. You guys are amazing and thank you for hanging out with me. All right. And let's see here. In death, Disney turned Anakin's ghost into a deadbeat, pun intended, dad. Yeah. All right. So with that being said, let's get into the new Jedi Order. Let's see here. Oh, shit. Happy birthday, Laura. I didn't know. You know what? I really didn't advertise it, like even on Twitter or anything like that. Not even in our chat to you guys or anything like that. I just figured, I did plan on having a live. And like I said, I was like, I just need to just take this time and just enjoy where we're visiting at away from home. And got to see one of my dear friends that lives in the area and go experience her yoga class in her studio and did a lot of fun things around there. Had some great fucking food as well. Yeah. So it was last Wednesday and it was during the solar eclipse. Woo! All right. So let's go ahead and get into the new Jedi Order talk. Now, again, like I said, I didn't go above and beyond to make a new PowerPoint for this timeline. This I guess you could say this area of the timeline for Heretic, but I still have one of the previous ones up here. I will have one prepared for next week. So, new Jedi Order, Force Heretic 1 timeline. All right. So at this point, the galaxy, the new Republic is gone. It's bloodied and weary. And we also see the Jedi coming together, I guess you could say, like Luke, even Leia has approached the Empire, but they're asking the Empire at this point of the timeline, they're going to ask, and we'll get into that. We'll get into the Imperial discussion of this part of the timeline. In fact, you know what? Instead of talking about where the new Republic is first, maybe I'll get into them asking the Empire. We'll get into that bit of timeline. I think that's very important because the Empire wasn't necessarily involved whatsoever up until coming to this point. Impelion has a fucking amazing scene, I guess you could say. So that would be worthwhile because, like I said, we really haven't really touched upon the Empire, where they at, what, and all this other stuff. So, and we see total destruction of the New Republic as a government by the Yuuzhan Vong. So they totally destroyed. Coruscant is taken, all of that. And so now they're newly formed as the Galactic Alliance. And they're determined to bring peace to the entire galaxy, reunite the entire galaxy as well, instill this invasion to defeat the Vong as well. Or basically contained, defeated. And Luke is then now off with Mara and his little group of people. And he is looking for Zonama Thikat, this planet, this force sentient kind of planet that is the child planet to the Yuuzhan Vong home planet, I guess you can say. And so by finding this planet will help further for them to understand how, or understand the Yuuzhan Vong and how to defeat them. So the sentient planet. And, you know, whenever I see people talk about the New Jedi Order, and if they're very anti-EU type of people, they're like, oh, that planet that's, so they'll mock Zonama Seacot. Just like they mock the Laughing Mountain, the Yoda's Laughing Mountain, I guess you could say. They mock the sentient planet. It's one of the things that they mock. I've seen in an arsenal of people, anti-EU people. And the thing is, it's like, oh, you're gonna mock and laugh about a sentient planet, but then you have a rock pilot that has no arms and or appendages or anything like that to control and pilot a ship and stuff. Okay, all right. So every time they try to throw out something to bash the EU, Disney's like, hold my beer. We'll give you something else to kind of humble you. But I'm not saying this in a good way. I think it's fucking funny that Disney's doing this. Disney Star Wars. And then Luke wants to get in contact with Zonama Seacot because, to help decipher the secrets of the Vong, but also learn more about the Zonama Seacot. Like, how did all this come into play? Like, a live sentient planet that house these beings that don't, and they're like Zonama Seacot has enormous force potential, right? And so it housed basically this species that they cannot, feel the force through or feel them in the force. Well, with the help of what Anakin Solo found with the crystals and stuff like that, and how they can, feel like, okay, the Vong's here because we feel this void and animals are running for their lives and stuff like that. So they found other different ways to know that a Vong, Yuuzhan Vong, is in the presence of them. And so Luke believes that Zonama Seacot would turn the tides of this invasion, this war. And so that's where we are in the timeline with this. And like I said, this duology is a hit and miss. A lot of people say it's mid. There are people that really didn't care for it, and there's some people that like it. I think it's okay, and it has very, very good points within the book that I love to read. Like I said, Pelion and his stance against the Vong, and also his stance against one of his Moffs who don't want to unite with the Jedi and with basically the New Republic. They still want to fight. They still want to, I guess you can say, reobtain control of the galaxy. So his mindset's there when they're in their corner of their from their treaty that was made during the Thrawn duology. So they're abiding by the treaty, all of this. They're in their own space, their own part of the galaxy and stuff. And Pelion has come to the understanding that the Yuuzhan Vong, and we'll get more into this, ignored them. They thought they were safe and realized that they weren't because they had infiltrators and stuff in there. So we'll get more into that. Very interesting. So there are some great fucking moments in this duology, especially the first part of it. And so I praise it for that. The writing for Pelion, fucking amazing. So, and he's an amazing character as it is. So let's see. Lucas says, Luke, you were a tool. You were not the Emperor's only hand agent. You were just one of them, Mara. You're a sad, strange little farm boy, and you have my pity. Farewell. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, and there's people that said that they didn't like how Mara was written in the Thrawn trilogy. All right, let's see here. Smash the like. Conrado says, I bet Disney will put the change the Vongs into stand-ins for conservative white men so that Rey's order can humble them to submission. Oh, wow. You never know what they're going to do. You never know. New Republic is no more. Welcome, Galactic Alliance. Yes, we're coming into new era. New era. So the Republic as that's known through the name Republic, whether it's old or New Republic, is gone. It's the Galactic Alliance. Think about that. So the Republic in itself, in its entirety, lasted for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Just different stages caused by war and destruction and reformations. Just changed, the direction a bit. And when the empire rose, you now have the imperial government, if you want to call it that. And so the Republic was no more during that time frame, during the dark times, and then bringing back the Republic, but calling it new and giving it a slightly different name to a Republic that they saved. But then now we have the Galactic Alliance. And that was more about unity using alliance, right? Whisper back to Rebel Alliance. So it's all about the unity, or what they're trying to do with unity during the time. And then you have Jason's fall. And there's a whole nother story behind that. And I was told by a few people that after I'm done with New Jedi Order, I should get into pushing the timeline towards legacy and discussing that to keep the consistency going. So we'll see. We will see. All right. And see, also you asked how I was doing. Lafayette, I've been very, very busy lately. Wedding prep stuff. Lafayette, no, I'm not the one getting married. Oh, okay. Awesome. Great to hear. And congratulations to the couple that you're helping with the wedding. That's pretty cool. All right. Lucas says here, Luke using Zonama tech to defeat the Vong is so poetic. Haha. Yes. And so I can't wait till we get to that stage, but you are fucking right. Let's see here. And the only thing Disney will never do is to recognize the continued legacy of the Skywalker solo family. No, there's not much. They're really not. But what they're doing, I just seen an announcement on Twitter of a new comic series that's bringing in Han, Luke, and Leia. So they're developing their stories outside visual media still. So people who only are interested in Star Wars or Disney Star Wars, that are basically normie status, I guess you can say, that are only wanting visual, will then say, well, where is Luke, Han, and Leia? But then it is also a valid choice because you are putting on screen, not choice, but question. They're putting on screen this huge event going on in the galaxy again. And these people are hearkening it to Heir to the Empire. Right? Yet the people who are written in Heir to the Empire are not in there, with the exception of Thrawn. Now, does that make any sense to say, this is Heir to the Empire, or they're doing little callbacks and Easter eggs from it and stuff, so it makes it Heir? I mean, the gymnastics around that is fucking amazing. But the gymnastics around trying to make all these shields, trying to make Disney make sense and stuff like this, and is award worthy. Award worthy. I need a clip. If there's any kind of clip, I have to research it now on participation trophy, because That's the kind of mentality that these guys are from. Participation trophy. Oh, well, Thrawn's in here, so we're, participation trophy, it's going to be kind of like, sort of, but is heir to the Empire. Okay. So Lucas says, I personally never heard anti-EU complaining about CCOP. Maybe the majority don't know about it because it isn't that mainstream. But anyway, a living sentient planet isn't somewhat new in sci-fi. Yeah, I've I have seen it all. I have seen it all. Like at one point before we had this new Jedi Order renaissance going on, and it started taking off as, oh, it's the best Star Wars ever. People were basically talking shit about New Jedi Order left and right, using Zona Masika as a talking point as well as others, other type of talking points. So yeah, so I've been there, and I've heard it all. Chio, what are you doing? What's up? How things going? Good afternoon, everyone, he says, and good afternoon to you. All right, Lucas says, by the way, there's a Tsunami planet on Disney for some reason. Laugh out loud. You know what? I think I mentioned that a while back, and I since then forgot. So I'll have to check that out. All right, wasn't Flint for one of Lou Maya's apprentices a hand too? You know what? I didn't even think about that. I don't even know. Ray might rename. Who are all the hands? Can someone put a list out there? Ray might remember her Jedi Order, or rename her Jedi Order to the Skywalker Order or Clan Skywalker. And sorry I'm late. Hey, it's all good. You're here. Better late than never, right? That's saying better late than never. Thank you so much for coming in and hanging out. All right. Galactic Triumvirate, Galactic Alliance, New Republic, Old Republic. There you go. And there's a little history of the names there. Smash the Dilogic. Smash the Dilogic. I see what you're doing there, unless that was a mistake. With Old Republic, I meant the PT Era Republic. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I got it. Disney refused to recast the trios. Of course they did. And we have Quiet Drawer over there on the Rumble side. What are you doing? I'm looking at the Rumble screen right now. But OG, Thrawn never went after the rebellion. All right, so this is a perfect time to get into the talk that I want to talk about. I think everything from this point here. Okay. What's going on here? What is going on here? How come my... Oh, I see. There we go. Here I am. Hello. Well, at least my avatar. All right. So when you look, and it's like I said, this is a perfect time to get into cringe factor, because what we're going to talk about beyond this point is all cringe factor.
So uncivilized.
So first and foremost, I'm going to get into this talk about Ahsoka 2 from just the teaser trailer. And people are like, probably who said, oh yeah, those who are like, oh, Mike Sparrow said that this is going to be heir to the Empire and blah, 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 kind of bullshit. And now they're probably thinking, we're right, over a fucking trailer. Then I'm asking, okay, did you fucking read Thrawn trilogy? And I don't recall Ahsoka, Sabine, or whatever her name is. I almost say it's Satine. Satine is that wannabe Obi-Wan girlfriend, right? And Ezra and all of them. And having Dathomirian witches or night sisters, I guess you can say. All of that being in Heir to the Empire are the whole trilogy. So how in the fuck is this Heir to the Empire? What, because Thrawn's in there? And because he's returned from quote-unquote exile. He wasn't fucking in exile. His dumb ass got swept away by a purg or space well. When a man as brilliant as he is and learning about any type of species that it can threaten the galaxy, and pretty sure people traveling throughout the galaxy, like unknown regions and stuff like that, you would think that a brilliant man would fucking know what those things are and have tactics to help arm the Empire against these kind of creatures, right? So that they wouldn't get swarmed away or swept away or whatever, or encounter or whatever. So, yeah. Thrawn in the original Star Wars, the authentic, true Star Wars, is completely different than the Thrawn in Disney. From the point of Zahn rewriting to Filoni's interpretation to what we're seeing now. Completely fucking different. So let me see what you guys are saying. There is a lot of key jingling when it comes to Disney Star Wars. And yes, Anakin wasn't in there. Anakin Skywalker is not in the Thrawn trilogy. He had his moments, like he visibly appeared to Leia and Trusat Bakora and said that he's not going to have the ability to return like that, and seeking for her to, come to terms and come to peace with everything and apologizing, this whole thing. And I wish I would have had the clip ready for you guys, because it's amazing talk, because everything is valid between the two, what they're saying. And then I believe his voice, he basically helped out Jason in New Jedi Order. And but it was basically his voice. And so we have that. But nowhere in any history involving Thrawn, Talon Karrde, Luke, Leia, and Han, and their stories together, like the Thrawn trilogy, has Anakin ever showed up. Now, having Anakin show up to Ahsoka, like, I'm always walking with you, you fucking stalker. I'm always walking with you. What the fuck? So now is Ahsoka all the Jedi? Are we going to see all the Jedi moment with her? Oh my fucking God. I'm always walking with you. Unless he's walking alongside Rey, right? Encouraging her. But not really his own kids. Kind of strange, right? And people will say, oh, well, he doesn't know his son and his daughter, but mainly they say his son as good as Ahsoka as an excuse. Well, then what the fuck is going on with this Rey? So he will support her, but not the son or even the daughter. What the actual fuck? So like I said, the gymnastics. Guys, OG's seen things. I seen it. Zonamathi Khat is one of the coolest elements and characters introduced in the franchise. Sentient planets rule. Thrawn went after the New Republic. Let's see here. Follow OG on Twitter. And check out my merch. I still haven't got my merch updated. I'm sorry. I'm a slacker on that. A total slacker on that. All right. I need to get my Sith eyes up to start creating that series, because I would love to see you guys with a t-shirt or a mug for CAF chat. Holy heck, that would be fucking amazing. Or maybe even the collection hanging up in your nerd room. Yes, I said that, nerd room. It's just ripping. I'm like ripe. It's just ripe. It's just ripping off Heir of the Empire, along with sprinkling in some courtship of Princess Leia, Night Sisters ally with Imperial warlords. All right, let's see here. And I wonder if the EU hating shields will keep the same energy with Ahsoka adapting it. I would say yes. They're very fucking predictable. And Calcite Lion, how are you doing? Greetings there and good noon. Well, good noon to you as well. Thank you so much for showing up, and I hope your day so far is going well. Wolf Scar says only instead of Warlord Jinj, how do we say his fucking name? It's Thrawn. Think about that. Well, at this time frame, Jin, isn't he already defeated because of the X-Wings? I'm vaguely remembering. I think so. But yeah. And I think they're like smashing, compacting everything in 9 ABY. It's fucking crazy. But they did that with the Disney trilogy. It's like there's only 2 years that passed between 3 movies. Think about that. How does that make sense? All right, there's only one heir to the Empire. It was the trilogy written by Timothy Zahn. I hear that. All right, let's see here. And Wolf Scar says the same thing with Rebels bringing in the EU and having it be Thrawn's project instead of Grand Admiral Zarin's. Now, going back to this topic of Ahsoka being the likings of Heir to the Empire. Like I said, Thrawn was not in exile. He was stranded. Now, I was looking into Disney lore on exactly when Thrawn was swept away by the space whales. Swept away! Anyways, him and Ezra. And when Mon Mothma did her declaration of the Rebel Alliance, because I was like, was he around at the time or was he already swept away by the space whales when she made the declaration? And so far, it looks like he was still within the galaxy when she made that declaration. So I was like, dang it. Because for me, with Thrawn coming back and calling the he's making an announcement to the whole fucking galaxy, but still calling them the Empire. And then saying we're defeating the Rebel Alliance, not defeating, declaring war on the Rebel Alliance. I was like, okay, so was he swept away or not during that time? Was he gone when that declaration was made? I haven't looked into Andor because sometimes they get wonky on their timeline. And so sometimes that does not make sense. Some of the timelines, when they repeat an actual event, doesn't make sense because they get that timeline off. So I haven't looked into that part yet because I guess supposedly she made the announcement both when she was with the rebels, I guess you could say, and then not. So I got to put those pieces together, so something's not connecting, and then maybe I'm just confusing a scene or so. So, just to be more clear on that before I get further into that, I got to do a little bit more research. I got to dive into the muck of that bullshit. All right, so he comes on and he calls the galaxy itself the New Republic, the Empire. Because by this time he, comes out of being stranded, like he finally returns. And this, I'm talking Disney. Yes, I'm analyzing this bullshit. There is no more Empire. And as far as I know, and if anybody knows, correct me if I'm wrong, there is no Imperial remnant, like there's no planets or no section or sector of the Empire of the galaxy that has an Imperial remnant. Everything should have been scattered or what have you. If there is, let me know. I didn't look into that yet because, like I said, I really don't pay attention unless I need to. So I'm coming to that point of was there a section of the galaxy reserved for the Imperial Remnant. I know that they made a peace treaty like almost soon after Endor, after was it called that Jakku battle or whatever? Yeah, so he is broadcasting and declaring war. Yeah, even though it's so funny, like you would think that he would understand his mistakes of not realizing that he should have been prepared for a fucking space whale to drag him away and stuff like that, that a lot of it was his fault. I don't know. Like when Rook killed him at the end, like towards the end of the Thrawn trilogy, that was masterful. They, with Leia's guidance and understanding and presenting her evidence and her being the Malari Ush, I guess you could say, or Darth Vader's heir, they go their matriarchy, right? So when people say, oh, well, Disney before, or Star Wars before Disney never was female centered and blah, 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 it was always patriarch. We have these alien species that they look to their females as heads. Yes, they have their male species that also speak up too for the protection of the families and stuff. And it kind of goes, now I'll compare this a little bit to the structure of like my tribe and like that was practiced before, you know, colonization and stuff. Yes, colonization, settlers, whatever you want to fucking call it. We had the women, our women were the heads of the homes. So if there was any kind of quote divorce, women would just basically toss the men's stuff out. Or if the man was like done, like there was no relationship and stuff, he would pack his stuff up and leave. But the women were the ones that are like in charge of the home, while men were the ones that, you know, protected and were in the front lines to protect the family structure. So there was a balance there in a sense. And that's how I seen the same structure. I'm not calling them fucking Native Americans, okay? So don't get that fucking confused. I'm saying there's a similar structure of philosophy on how a species is existing, okay? And so I see that. So you have the Malari Ush, you have the daughter of Vader because she's the female. Because, you know, Luke doesn't get no special title. He's just the son. But the Malari Ush, she's the heir, right? So even though Luke is considered that too, it's like there's special significance with that. So when Disney people, Disney shills and Disney executives and stuff under Lucasfilm say that there's a patriarch before they bought and they need to have more strong female leads and characters and more feminine approach, fuck you. And the one that they put on a pedestal is Timothy Zahn. They don't fucking realize that he created a patriarch, or not a patriarch, matriarch. I'm sorry, matriarch. And that matriarch, that species, well executed the assassination of Thrawn without knowing. And Thrawn was like, this was so well executed, or so well, what was it? So well, fuck. I just said so artfully done or something like that. And it goes to show, you know, like even the man who uses art to define and get into the psyche of a species, because he did tell Pelion once at one point when they were reviewing all the artifacts that he had, that there was one species or this one planet and this group of species that he totally eliminated because he couldn't understand them through the art. Crazy, huh? That's fucking crazy. And so when you look at the Nogri, they do art. They tell their history. They have their main little temple. They tell their history. They have it all on the wall of their history. Important historical timeline. but Thrawn failed to see because they thought, I think Thrawn was basically naive about them. Well, he was naive about them, that he thought that they were easily controlled through the destruction, what happened to the planet during the Clone Wars, and how the Empire went in there and made it sound like the forming, I guess you could say, or made it sound like their government cared while the new forming government didn't. So they played that card so well, made dependence of these species. So Thrawn got comfortable when he inherited that right towards them, I guess you can say. They were basically slaved into being these little spies and soldiers and all this other stuff, right? So he was so complacent and comfortable where he was at with them that he failed to see what was going to happen. So that was fucking amazing. That was fucking amazing. So is that in Ahsoka 2? Fuck no. Hell to the fucking no. And I have to go back and see, but they did kill Rook in Rebels, right? So if they kill Rook in Rebels, what does that mean for the Nogri going on in Disney? They're not going to most likely not going to be in the show. But even if they are, they're not the same because Rook is fucking old, right? So Lucas says, Thrawn, I'm the heir to the Empire, and with the rise of my dark fleet, I gonna end the rebellion with a last command. Shills. Oh my gosh, guys! Oh, that's hilarious. All right, let's see here what you guys are saying. Now, I went on a long thing with that, but it's always good to it's always fun to get into the dynamics and stuff like that of the lore. Bringing in the TIE Defender. All right, let's see here. Luke is not the last of the old Jedi, but first of the new. And that's not even in there. That's not fucking even in there. But the ultimatum that Anakin, and I tell you what, they fucking complain about how wooden or bad the dialogue is for the PT. This is fucking horrendous. It's like when you listen to the damn it. Let me take a drink. When you look into the clip of it, the trailer, when Anakin's speaking, it's so monotone, his voice. And it's almost like Bueller, kind of thing. There's no energy towards that. No energy whatsoever. Oh, but Filoni's honoring George. Oh my gosh. But it was so artistically done. Yes, I've seen that now. For whatever reason, Quentin is not showing up on this side of in StreamYards for Rumble. So I don't see you here. So I did got it. I did got it. All right, let's see here. Yes, the entire point of Luke and OG trio was that he was the first of the new, not the last of the old. They even butcher that. Yeah, and Anakin's like, oh, are you going to be a Jedi or not? Jedi or not? This is your trial. Are you going to be a Jedi or not? So then that goes away for Luke being the first of the new, last of the old, because we already know that he was already training and teaching the old ways of the Jedi during the PT era, which had a lot of flaws, and didn't contribute to their downfall. Like Palpatine took advantage of those flaws, and they were ignorant to some of their dogmatic thinking, including relationships, or I wouldn't say relationships because that can go as friendships or whatever, but being married and stuff like that. So that all there, Luke basically applied himself towards the old order of training and stuff like that, and that totally failed on him, basically in the Disney Star Wars. So there was no way of Luke returning and bringing back the Jedi successfully. They weren't going to give him that. They're going to give it to someone else. So Wolfscar said, Anakin, always walk with you. Yeah, I have a son, but I don't care about him. Let's see here. And maybe Grogu will join Rey's order in the 4th trilogy. They turn Ahsoka Anakin's pet. Yeah. And I always disagreed with Lucas on having an apprentice for Anakin. That seemed very odd, because then you have these big, huge plot holes going on when, you have the ending of the PT with Revenge of the Sith and all this stuff. I mean, nothing is mentioned of her whatsoever. So Disney, and it's like, I don't think, like, if she was someone else's apprentice but still had an impact or still fought alongside Anakin, then that would be more believable. But when you create such an intimate relationship between an apprentice and a very, very key character, because the saga is about Anakin's fall and redemption, then you would have to think about, okay, so how is this going to look for Revenge of the Sith when nothing about her is talked about or discussed? And they try to shoehorn her in through the last season of TCW, and that right there in itself, it's like, it's a glaring thing, because they still don't recognize or talk about her, but yet she was there in certain aspects. Fucking A. It's jarring. It's so fucking jarring. Disney canon is full of Shicho. Let's see here. I think I found an AI version of Anakin talking to Leia. Oh, gee, sent it to you. Okay, let me go check it out. Let's see here. Twitter. I'm laughing at how I pronounce that, you guys. I think it's so fucking funny. All right, let's see here. Oh shit, I have a lot going on here in the chats. Okay. All right. Oh, and I seen you shared the Rook scene with me. Okay. All right. Let's see here. AI. Let me stop it so I can play this. All right. All right, let's get this on here so you guys can see this. Let me remove this here. And I don't want to invite anybody. Share screen. I think we're going to go a little bit longer than normal today, but I don't think you guys mind. Share. All right, here we go.
He came back. He saved me. Do not fear me. Tell Luke to remember that fear is of the dark side.
Who are you?
I am your father, Leia. I am forgiven, but I have much that I wish to atone for. I must clear your heart and your mind of anger. Anger is the dark side, too.
I want you to leave, disincorporate, fade out, or whatever you do.
I am no longer the man that you feared. Can you not see me as a stranger, not an old enemy?
You can't restore Alderaan. You can't bring back the people you murdered, or comfort their widows and orphans. You can't undo what you did to the Alliance.
I strengthened the Alliance, although that was not my intent. Leia, things are changing. I may never be able to return to you.
Good.
There is no justifying my actions. Yet Luke saved me from darkness. You must believe me.
I heard him, but I'm not him, or your teacher, or your confessor. I'm only your daughter by a cruel trick of fate.
Of the Force. Even that served a purpose. I am proud of your strengths. I don't ask for absolution, only your forgiveness.
How about what you did to Han? Are you going to beg him for his forgiveness?
Only through you. My time here is short.
I can almost forgive you torturing me, and the evils you did to other people because those drove so many worlds into the Alliance. But cruelty to Han, no. If you want to go through me, you won't get his forgiveness. Never.
Never's too large a word, my child.
I will never forgive you. Dematerialize. Go away.
Leia, I may not speak to you again, but I'll hear if you call me. If you change your mind, I will be watching.
Okay, so yes, true setback, Cora. Thank you so much for finding that. There's a little bit that was changed up from the actual scripts or what was written in the book, but it all together, it was basically the same tone and everything like that. And dematerialized, yeah, dematerialized. Yeah, so that was something that, like, when I read it, and then when I heard it on Audible, that right there, talk about sorrow but strength at the same time. Standing up for Han, like literally, like, I cannot forgive you for what you did with, to Han. And mind you, they're not even in a full-fledged in a relationship yet. We get to courtship of Princess Leia, and we have the realization of Han in desperate need to keep her, in a sense, like he's so in love with her, and and stuff like that. So we have that whole story to flesh that out. And oh, you have not read Truce yet? I think, and it's so funny because you have the Sisuruk. So the Sisuruk, I guess you could say, I always say Sisuruk, but you have the Sisuruk in there. So the basically little Triceratops kind of characters, species, and stuff like that. And basically draining the force essence, the soul or force essence of people or species, to basically put in their machines for battle and stuff like that. So it's very interesting in how even the Empire or the Emperor was basically bargaining or coming into some kind of bargain or what have you for that kind of machinery and stuff too. So very, very interesting. Luke gets to, you will witness Luke meet one of his, I guess you could say, loves or whatever. So I highly recommend it. That one right there, I liked, because we got a Luke Skywalker right after the Battle of Endor, and how he's feeling after the lightning and all that stuff from Force lightning from Palpatine, and how he's feeling with that, and how basically the Empire was scattered, and there's so many places that did not, see or hear of the Empire's destruction yet. So that right there. Machines, ironic. Ha ha ha. Yeah. Yeah. So that, thank you so much with that. So, we have that story here, and with Anakin, basically able to basically be by Ahsoka's side all the time. But his biggest fear was about his love of losing his wife and losing his family and possibly losing the kids, or having to raise these kids by himself and stuff like that. So I'm getting more into the psychology of that. So wanting to save her and doing what means to save her, but this is more of a selfish thing than anything else. And these visions that he was giving was only a glimpse of, it was a glimpse of the future, because when you see his visions and later on when you see what happens with her, she is on the birthing table before she dies, right? And she's given birth there. And he sees at her dying. Oh, we have some more going on. All right, I'll check it here pretty soon after I'm done with this. And so in a way, you could, like, if you want to dissect his vision, what he sees versus what happens at the end with Padme giving birth on the table and stuff, he sees her crying, or not crying, he sees her, I guess you could say her cry or her reaction to giving birth. And it's not necessarily her dying, because by the time when she's giving up, she's already calm. And so, you know, and analyzing that, he misunderstood the vision. And that's what the Jedi warn about. Like, any visions of the future, don't interpret them as something that's actually going to happen. And even if they end up happening, you know, you can't do anything about it really, because you can't change it. And because Anakin was so selfish about that, he thought he could. He wanted to find any type of power possible. And because he already knows he's this chosen one, you know, with the highest force potential ever recorded so far, that he thought that he had the means he could do if he found the resource. Palpatine took advantage of that, gave him false promises, and then later on he slowly revealed himself like, oh well, my master couldn't do it, but let's find the secret, to where he couldn't find the secret at all. But he kept him on that promise. Then all shit went to hell. She died. He is now encased in the suit. So you have that with Anakin. And so his biggest thing was about family. His own machinations about how he's seen his love for his wife and his future family turned him dark. It was all selfish. But with the guidance of discovering that he has a son, that his child survived, that is where unconditional love started coming into play. And when you read Revenge of the Sith novel, at the very end, you have that last bit about the candle in the darkness, right? And it talks about how love conquers all, basically. And so you have Luke with this redeeming quality. He believed something that, you know, like the past Jedi, like Obi-Wan and Yoda, didn't fully believe in. They thought once you're gone, you're gone. And they didn't look at the aspects of love, unconditional love, for the part of bringing back, right? And so Luke, with his redeeming qualities and his unconditional love and wanting to connect with his father that he learned about, but not in its true entirety. And yet now we have Anakin only wanting to serve his apprentice. Yeah, I think they said that Anakin showed up to Luke in that Sith novel, whatever it's called, with him and Luke and Lando going off on this crazy adventure and discovering the Sith cult or whatever. But I think that's the only time I've heard him really reaching out to Luke. But then Luke comes out of that with the knowledge that the Sith are still there and never acts upon that. So that one is weird. Yoda, visions of the future shouldn't be took that serious, because always in motion the future is. Jake, I had a vision about Ben's fall. I must kill him. Laugh out loud. Leia, Laugh out loud. Say, I'm gonna quit now. There you go. Oh my God. One horny Jedi ruined the galaxy. Well, Kaya Adimundi never ruined the galaxy. But anyways. All right. Yeah, Anakin saved Luke from Sith Ghost, I think. Yeah, exactly. He did in that. And I forgot what that exactly the book was called. But yeah, and I've talked about it when I first heard about it, when it first came out, and what was really going on and how he knew about the Sith. So I was like, why in the fuck didn't he do anything? All right. So, going back to that, and then going back to what Anakin and even Obi-Wan said in Heir to the Empire, going into the Force Ghost aspects of that. How long can they, still present themselves, stay in the physical realm? Now, when Force Ghosts have the ability, not Force Ghosts, when Jedi have the ability to become Force Ghosts and transcend into the Force and still exist in the physical, in a sense, they transcend, they basically give themselves fully to the Force. So there's none of this like they're in limbo or purgatory or anything like that. They're one with the Force. They're with the Force completely. But to maintain that, it's not a constant either. And eventually they have to pull their personalities or whatever back, right? So, but they're not in purgatory or everything, because if they were in limbo or purgatory, that means that they did something completely wrong and they have to settle that and live, I guess you could say, live through it in between both physical and spiritual realm until they meet and come into good terms. I'm using very basic language here. And then they're able to transcend. Oh, it's Shadow of the Sith novel? Okay, yeah. So let me see what you guys are saying here. Heir to the Empire, Mara does not exist. Luke has been replaced by Ahsoka. They keep doing this. First Rey gets his story purpose now at Ahsoka. Baloney, fan fiction, gratification for Dave alone. And Dave, I would say Disney Lucasfilm entirety. Because, like even when Kathleen Kennedy was there, she basically made the announcement of like they are moving away from the Skywalker name or saga or whatever. And so you have that. So, and then you remember in the beginning of everything how there was a poster from Return of the Jedi with Vader and Luke had that red X on him, and how fans were calling out, we were calling it out, we were talking about that, we were discussing it, all of this. And finally Disney Lucasfilm made the statement that this was only an in-office game going on. They said it was a game or whatever, and but yet no other poster that was revealed in that interview by the Disney Lucasfilm official was crossed off. Only Luke's face. So that, if you didn't believe anything before then, and you've seen that red X on Luke, then why are you not? What's going to convince you that they hate Luke? Let's see here. All right, let's see here. Don't kid yourselves. Disney and Lucasfilm hates Luke and what Lucas created, but Civil War, y'all, right? That Civil War. I wonder what kind of Civil War that they're going to come up with now. I despise Disney Thrawn. The trailer incensed me. Incensed you? They have a Luke destroying agenda at Disney, apparently. All right. Whoops. Red X on Luke's face equals Disney's mission statement. Ooh, that's some tough words right there. So I'm going to come up with this, since we're talking about the Ahsoka thing and what was being said inside the trailer. I'm going to bring this up now. So we're still in cringe factor, but you know what? Let's go ahead and take a quick intermission since we're going to go over in time here. And I'm going to play this if you need to go to the refresher or get some more CAF or fill your drink, get some snacks or whatever. You have a little bit of time.
Someone asked me to give the best reason why someone should read the expanded universe. After giving it a lot of thought, here's what I have to say. The expanded universe respects the reader. In the expanded universe, Luke Skywalker's optimism continues where it left off in Return of the Jedi. He's fulfilled hope to the galaxy just like Obi-Wan said he would, not like the Disney movies where he gave up on the Jedi or even the whole galaxy for that matter. The character you see in those movies is not Luke. Luke isn't a quitter. He's not a pessimist. He's a leader. He's inspirational. And he's always there for his friends in times of need. Another character is Han Solo. He's introduced to us in A New Hope as a loner, a man who cares only for himself and nobody else. But by the end of Return of the Jedi, that all turns around when he finally finds friends he can trust and a true love to spend the rest of his life with. And that's exactly what he does in the expanded universe. Han is a devoted husband and father to Leia and their kids. He loves his family above all else. In the new movies, Han turns out to be a selfish deadbeat dad who ran out on his family when things get tough. It's a complete 180 from the character that we saw from Return of the Jedi. Now, another thing the EU does is it rewards its readers. Attention to detail when it comes to continuity has never been done at such a level as when it was performed by the expanded universe. Avid readers will constantly be rewarded for their diligence as comics, novels, video games, and even children's books share connections throughout the entire series, making it almost a flawless, continuous story. And though it has its minor flaws, it's still the best overall story in continuity out there, period. That's what the EU does. It respects and rewards its readers. And that's the best reason you should give it a try. Long live the expanded universe.
Long live the expanded universe. And here we go. I got one clip to play and then we'll move on with what I want to talk with again, or not again, but continue with. Matt says, I'm also pissed that they are re-releasing the 1977 original cut against Lucas's wishes. I love the original, but the artist rights over the corporation is my belief. It's sick what they are doing to his Lucasfilm legacy, or like the Lucasfilm. Yeah. And there's like the original, it truly doesn't exist anymore because of like damage, and him also, like in the beginning, like 1977, when all of that was like being released in theaters, he's made changes even during that time. So there isn't a true original anymore. And whatever was shared elsewhere, like in Europe and stuff like that, that's not the true original either. He has been continuing to like change things, change sound, change scenes, clearing things up, all of this other stuff. But that will be talked about in the future. We will discuss that in the future. I already shared some things. So yeah. So I'm going to share this with you guys and we'll get on with what I'm going to share, further share. So let's see here. Share screen. Oh shit, did I bring it up? No, I didn't. Cancel. I have to pull it up here on my side first. So where do I want to do this at? Here we go. All right, so another clip. And this goes into what we're talking about, Force Ghosts. So I wanted it to end this and then we'll go on to, it's still relatively in the same topic, but what we're talking about with what's being shared in Ahsoka. And, this is going to be an opinion on how I would say that Thrawn would announce to the general galaxy. For me, reading about Thrawn, post Return of the Jedi and before then, he has always been a stickler about formality. And I really don't see him as a petty character whatsoever. I think people see him petty now because of what Disney did to him. So, but that's my opinion. But let's go ahead and get into it. Let me go ahead and share screen. All right, let's see here. Is this the right one? Nope. Where did it go? Where did it go? I thought I pulled it up. Cancel. What the heck's going on here? Oh, duh. Okay, here it is. Okay. All right. Put it here since I have the chat on the side of the screen. Push play.
Luke.
Hello, Ben. It's been a long time.
It has indeed, and I'm afraid it will be longer still until the next time. I have come to say goodbye. This last path is being closed to me.
No. No, Ben, you can't leave us.
You do not need me, Luke. You are a Jedi, strong in the Force. The decision is not mine to make. I have lingered around too long already, and can no longer postpone my journey from this life to what lies beyond. It is the pattern of life to move on. You too will face this same journey one day.
I just don't understand.
You are strong with the Force, and with perseverance and discipline, you will grow stronger still. But you must never relax your guard. The Emperor is gone, but the dark side is still powerful. Never forget that.
I won't.
You will find new allies at times and places where you expect them least.
New allies? Who are they?
And now, farewell. I loved you as a son, as a student, and as a friend. Until we meet again. May the Force be with you.
Then I am truly the last of the Jedi.
Not the last of the old, but the first of the new.
I'm really talking away to you guys, and here I'm on mute. So there you go. That is, you can read that chapter 2 of Heir to the Empire. And chapter 1 is basically Thrawn and his regime, the introduction of that. And then chapter 2 is Luke, Han, and Leia. Luke, where he's at during that time frame, and him figuring out, okay, am I alone am I the only Jedi? Am I the last? So he's been going through all of this, like, how can I serve? Am I going to be good enough? All this self-doubt and realization he's holding this huge responsibility, and that he is going to train the twins. And what does that mean? And is he going to make the mistakes of the past for how whatever mistakes were made towards his dad and his father's fall and stuff like that? So he has those fears going on. But Ben Skywalker that's his son. Ben Kenobi, or Obi-Wan Kenobi, was basically telling him, you know, I am being called back. Like, I need to fully immerse myself with the Force now. And when you look at Force ghosts in general, like when that was an ability before that became a lost ability and Qui-Gon basically, quote unquote, rediscovered it, those who were able to manifest as Force goes back in the ancient times, they can't do it now. Because I wouldn't say there's an expiration date, but eventually you do fully return to the Force. Fully return to the Force. So then, you know, you go into questions on like, okay, so what is that like for what Disney Star Wars is and what Lucasfilm is doing? And how it feels like this is a cop-out for Anakin with Luke and Leia. And it brings in questions. Okay, so since he's by Ahsoka and helping her out and being this means of support and stuff like that, and training her and everything like that, I guess you could say, or telling her, these are your trials. Are you a Jedi or not? And always saying he walks beside her. It puts questions to, okay, so what about his kids? His daughter, who is rebuilding the government. His son, who is establishing the Jedi. And why isn't he there to tell him, like, don't be training these kids and these adults or whoever you're bringing in to your order, like how I was trained with this, and this going on, because this failed us in the past and this failed me in the past. So it brings questions to like that. If Disney is going to make Force Ghosts just like an ex machina for the character going forward, then there's no substance to that. And then you have questions and all these plot holes and stuff going on. Let me see here. Force ghosts don't last long unless they're bound to an object or a person, like the Jedi exile was to Revan, who was locked away for 300 years. Then you go into Sith spirit. Sith spirits go into limbo or purgatory. They're attached to something, an object, a person, what have you. And I would think that more or less, exile, that, I don't know, that I wouldn't say that was her case or anything like that. So just going into that aspect. And so with that, what you said with that, then would that apply with Anakin being attached to Ahsoka then? Is there a loophole right there? Think about that. Okay, let's see here. I wonder who taught Luke to be a Force ghost, Anakin or Obi-Wan? Obi-Wan did. Obi-Wan, no, actually, it was Yoda. I believe so. I believe it was Yoda. We'll have to look that up between the two, but I almost am sure it was Yoda that taught him. Let's see here. And Force ghosts don't, okay, I already read that one. And let's see here. Obi-Wan now is in Force heaven. I guess you could see it that way. And let's see here. Sith wants physical immortality by attaching their souls to an object. Yeah, they need to, because they can't achieve true morality as in becoming a Force ghost. That's why, when Ben Kenobi sacrifices himself in A New Hope, Star Wars, A New Hope, he tells Vader, I am now going to be stronger than you could ever imagine, or whatever. Yeah. So completely paraphrasing. All right. So let's get on to the next topic here. So not next topic, but we're still in the same topic, but now we're going to get into Thrawn's declaration of war. All right. So let me bring this up, and how my opinion triggered many of shields and the haters towards me. So let me see here. Let me see if that opens. So basically, I shared this. It is cool. It is a cool detail that Thrawn declares war on the Rebel Alliance rather than the New Republic. He doesn't recognize the New Republic as a full-fledged, deserving government body. He sees them as Empire did rebel scums. So this, my opinion, is based upon, my theory is based upon doing a formal declaration of war. And this goes upon this character, this Thrawn, who is a stickler for formality. And I don't see him as petty. So how do you guys see Thrawn as? Is he petty? Is he a petty being? That is not Thrawn. I know. And so I'm talking in general about just in general. We know so far Filoni has failed in interpreting this character. A strange talent you have, OG, to piss off the shill's hive mind. I do. It's just, I can say the sky is blue and they can go out and say, no, it's not. It's yellow or it's green or whatever, you know. So they seem. Thrawn is petty, but Thrawn original is not. I had to sit there and read that for a second, Calcite. I was like, what is he saying? Did he mistype? But I know what you're doing. Thrawn from Timu. All right, so this is what I said. It is ignorant writing. A formal war declaration, so keywords, formal war declarations would not go to an organization that is no more, like an organization that is no more, but the actual org or organization or the government now in place, the New Republic. It makes Thrawn look petty and not too smart in formal declaration. Again, I had to reinstate the formal declarations because, you know, my gut instincts is telling me that this was going to get to some people because, you know, they're defending. I said this is ignorant writing. So those keywords right there, what I said was triggering. So that triggered them. They read that. They went off on their own thing with me saying that I said that Thrawn recognizes the New Republic as a legitimate government, which is not the case. And then I had some people say that I was saying Thrawn would never call them the rebellion or the Rebel Alliance. And I did not say that here either. So this triggered and it went all downhill from there with these guys. And so this right here, from knowing Thrawn, like knowing his character, he's a stickler for formality. And that's what really got him into the Empire. And that's what really got him into the role, like the promotion of the role of Grand Admiral. Stickler for formality. And he's very formal. He's, you know, all this. And Chiss, that's what they are. They're sticklers for formality. If you get into the Chiss culture, they basically, they're the stiff-necked, collared kind of people who stick to the rules, the books, all of the stuff. Get into the Chiss lore. You will find out more of who they are. It's like they even have a societal rankings and stuff like that. And like even Chiss children are more highly educated compared to any other species because they stick them into these roles where they need to be, where they see them. And it's almost like, you know how there's people had talked about in the past with China, how kids, was it China? I believe so. How, no, it's not China, Russia. I'm sorry, Russia. How they would see where a kid is good in and they would stick them in that path. Jagged fell especially. She had to break down that wall. So Chiss, the formality, all of that. So this is the reason why I said that. Now, is it true or not? Who knows, right? Who knows? Because in the Heir to the Empire, he never made a formal declaration. Now, in the Disney lore, this Disney Thrawn did. And then I also gave examples on how, in this huge back and forth, how in like they're using Heir to the Empire to defend Disney Thrawn. But if you're going to go to their mentality, Heir to the Empire is not canon to Disney, or it was never canon, right? Never canon. So using that example to stick up for Ahsoka 2's writing and Disney's Thrawn, there's no stance on that. And they're like, well, Thrawn or Zahn knows his character, so it's still the same. I'm not talking about Zahn writing this. I'm talking about Filoni. However, Timothy Zahn written the character completely different from the original Thrawn. So there's a significant difference. And Thrawn is never fleshed out post Return of the Jedi as he is right now in original lore. Now, post Return of the Jedi, on both original canon and Disney's version, they're completely different. And I've already talked about this like a while ago here, live with you guys, on how his origins is different, how his name is not really his name. Mithron Neutral, or what? I fucking butchered that, but you know what I'm talking about. You know what it is. In Disney, that's his adoptive name. But in original lore, that's his name. Let's see here. Original Thrawn was an incredible character. Disney's version is an imbecile. Now, I wouldn't call Mr. Zahn a turncoat. He just does his job. I pretend to see that it was Varan he was writing. I would have to disagree with you on that, but about being a turncoat, I think money speaks. Money speaks. All right. Some people on the past claims the Heir to the Empire trilogy was still canon to Disney for some reason, and that's very much odd. Hey Jordan, how are you doing? It's a ride at Walt Disney World in the Imagination Pavilion. What's a ride? All right, let's see here. And people think Thrawn is cool because they didn't thaw or see Chisilla, their home planet, yet. Damn cool place. You like cow. Okay, you're a farmer now. All right, and let's see. But then again, I'd let Jaina break down my wall. Oh my goodness gracious. Here we go. And I think it deserves a nice little dance from Lando. Oh my gosh. They turned Thrawn to his birth name to adopted name. Yeah. So let's see here. James Lucino, on the other hand, had a much better response regarding the EU. Zahn is a seller. And I believe James Lucino had to step away, even though he ended up, writing and stuff like that. So he is a turncoat. Let me see. All right. So let me go back to that image. Where is it at? Now, sometimes these can be testy a little bit, but let's see here where it takes me, or if it lets me. Nope, I don't want to comment. Let me see here. Oh, view activity. There we go. It's different on the computer than it is on. No, it's not showing. Oh, quotes, reposts. There we go. So it's only, oh, that's right. The ones that reposted, basically screenshot, but never tag me. Don't you love that when they don't tag you whatsoever? So, so this is where he's saying that I didn't say that Thrawn, or he assumed that I said Thrawn would never use the term rebellion. I'm just talking about a normal decorations. The first chapter of Heir to the Empire, by the way, and canon, there is a galactic concordat. So yes, Thrawn is denouncing the peace treaty and declares war to what the New Republic, in his eyes, the rebellion. He said Rebel Alliance, but they're one and the same, I guess you can say. And I did not say he would never call them the rebellion or Rebel Alliance or whatever. I am talking about how he would declare war in the greater galaxy, in the greater population. Now, what he thinks and says about the New Republic to his to the Empire, to his people, his fleet, his correspondence within the Empire or within the Imperial Remnant is a different story. Let me see here. And, I have people here, even if it wasn't petty, Thrawn didn't need to declare war because the Galactic Civil War was still going on. Great point, Jason. And still going on. And there wouldn't be peace until 10 years after he started his campaign. Now, we're talking about Heir of the Empire, but we're not talking about Disney Star Wars, because by that time when he returns, there is peace. But using the Heir of the Empire to defend that, again, they're not the same. Heir of the Empire are George Lucas era versus Disney is not the same. Facts. On top of that, a well-written commander would take care of his own camp first before declaring war on an enemy. The Imperial remnants are clearly a mess, and using zombies to bolster ranks emphasizes that greatly. And I see your point and agree. Thrawn might refer them as rebels internally, but use the formal New Republic in declaration like this. However, that might be too much nuance for this format. Got to dumb it down a bit so people will catch it. And so we have here, Thrawn refuses to address the New Republic as such in the Thrawn trilogy, so this does not make sense in that respect. And we had a back and forth, but respect to him that Alverde and I came to the conclusion of having a civil conversation. And of course, this is a green dolt. LARP, Sahur. So Sahur, tell me if I don't know what that means. But basically, he got upset and triggered. There's no limit to the LARP. And I basically said, is that all you have? You sound like and look like an idiot. And then remember Thrawn in the EU consolidated power and forces, not particularly revealing himself until he had the forces to officially declare war. And in Heir to the Empire, Thrawn, like the New Republic, even the past Rebel Alliance, did not know Thrawn existed. Thrawn really didn't have much interaction with the forming Rebel Alliance, as he was put in so quote unquote, exile. It was, the exile was just a disguise, a reason, because we know that the Emperor is xenophobic, and that was just a cover. And in the meantime, while he was on his mission, quote unquote, exile, the cover, he was basically exploring the unknown regions for the Empire, mapping out all this and checking out the greater threats to the galaxy and stuff like that. So that's why you see Mon Mothma and all of them not even know anything about this Thrawn when he comes into play in pictures. The rumors started coming out about, there's this Grand Admiral that is, attacking planets and stuff like that, and taking, resources and everything like that. And they're like, who is this Grand Admiral? We thought we, counted for all of them. And I think there was like 13 Grand Admirals, they said, or was it 12? And that Thrawn is the 13. But anyway, so they're questioning that, right? So, and we do know that at the time when Dark Forces came about, Thrawn was captain to what's his name? Was it Jarek? Did I get his name right? Was commander to his ship. So we know that Thrawn was commander during that time before he went into exile. And so that was right before New Hope. So there was some interaction, but no one knew about him. And he got promoted, went into quote unquote exile, and then returned. So no one really knew about him. So that little sneak peek of who he was in Dark Forces was a little callback for, showing where he's at, but no one knew about him. He was just a commander of Jarek's fleet or ship, and that's it. However, Disney, and I'm sharing the differences here. Disney, he was fully involved. He was already battling with the forming Rebel Alliance, and basically got swept away by space whales. So there's that difference already. Twitter is basically internet sewage with all those green dolts saying shit over and over again. Yes, I agree. It's weird, those kind of shills who think Disney has continuity. Filoni does whatever he feels like, and the belief Disney Star Wars is canon is beyond ludicrous. And Filoni hates the source material. And let's go here. He would refer to the Republic as a failed state, and given this is Disney's canon, he'd be correct. Smart replies in this thread. Yeah, except for the last. Green dolts will dolt, right? They will dolt. All right, let's see here. Galactic Concordance is basically Disney's Pelion-Gaverson Treaty, but very, very lame in comparison. Too soon with little to build, to no build up. Correct. All right, so there's a lot of back and forths. Of course, you all know who probably hopped on and joined and decided to use victimhood for attacks and stuff like that. So with that being said, I'm going to go more into that, and then we'll conclude with CAF chat. So I'm going to remove this and share this. Now, Lucky Kennedy has jumped in. Darth Watts has jumped in on this. Space Weed has jumped in on this. So it was all given an opportunity, and they're like, oh, have you read it before? You didn't even read it, blah, blah, blah. I'm giving a theory based upon how smart and intelligent this character is and how he was raised as a Chiss. So someone was then saying, oh, well, Disney or Lucasfilm was planning to reboot before the buyout, blah, blah, blah. And so I was like going to find what Pablo Hidalgo said in a conversation with Lucky Kennedy and stuff like that, that he shared. And I went into the depths of Blue Sky. I need to create an account there and use that as another post for my Star Wars here, George Lucas era. But so I went to Blue Sky, went to his account so I could find that. And as I was reading through, I mean, it is disgusting. It is crazy. It is creepy how this guy obsesses over me and the Gatekeepers Alliance, but mainly me. I'm the Gatekeepers Alliance, basically, that he obsesses over more than anything else. So this is what he said, replied about me to Pablo Hidalgo 8 months ago. Mind you, we know Pablo, already crazy minded person. He went after Theory for sharing his emotions, And am I a victim? Not really. I don't see myself as a victim, but it's disgusting that this guy can carry on like he is, right? But he made himself a victim, like, oh God, a woman's attacking me. We'll get into that. So Pablo says here, there should be an last_kid account we all get to bully. And Creepy Kennedy says here, I say the Star Wars fandom should just bully OG Star Wars for spreading false information about George Lucas and the EU. Special thanks to Darth Momo for getting this screenshot for me. Now, for someone who cries around about like, oh, toxic fans and the Gatekeepers Alliance bully and these people bully or the EU elitist bully and stuff like that, he sure wants bullying to happen. What a fucking hypocrite. What a fucking hypocrite. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. You live rent-free in their heads. I do. Blue Sky, you will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villain or shillery. Yeah? I need to go make my account over there. They all hate you for... I keep on forgetting about Blue Sky. It's just not important to me. They all hate you, especially these proud male feminists, right? TCW shows are the worst. Lollipop, lollipop, oh, lolly, lollipop, lollipop. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Filoni hates continuity. Oh, you read that one. All right. So let's go on to the next. All right. So I can't read exactly what I said here, but so let me go ahead and just pull it up on my end where I can. Lucky I shared it elsewhere so I can. It's accessible. So this is from me recognizing that he's always coming at me and stuff like that, even when I do ignore him and don't pay attention until someone shares something with me. Let me see here. Let me see here. Here it is. So I'll read it to you here. So mine, this was 2 weeks ago from when this was posted 7 months ago. So this right here was right after he posted the bully wishing people would bully me. Okay. All right. So he hates bullying. He doesn't want to be bullied himself, but he doesn't mind anybody else being bullied, right? So first off, Lucky Kennedy, why don't you grow a pair of balls and unblock me and stop running away? Address what I tagged you to here. Instead of repeating yourself, you talk about me in your post and then get mad because I reply. People counter you with supporting info and you get upset. Just like you share in the video, you don't like it. You then say they rage on go ballistic. How do you feel hiding behind a block? Safe, comfy, like a big bad man? For those who, and this is quote unquote him, for those who want to rage in this comments, every comment will only push this video to more people and highlight the lie OG Star Wars had made. You would only be fucking her over. And that's what he said about that video he made about me. So basically he's gaslighting people to not counter him. And then then I say he doesn't want opposition, so he makes this type of comment. Yet those who do comment in opposition, he quickly blocks. And so this is what he said about me, or about this post here. OG Star Wars, again, I'm blocked. At the time, he since then unblocked me, so I'll give him that. But he never tags me because he doesn't want me to directly see that he's talking about me. See how that goes? OG Star Wars, after harassing me, so now he's being harassed by me, is bitching that I blocked her. All because I provided she lied and can't admit she was making shit up. Fucking loon this one is, eh? But when I clarify what happened with the quote I posted, he didn't take that as me clarifying. He just took it as me raging or spurging out. So he didn't want to hear it. He doesn't want discourse or anything like that. He doesn't want civility or creating conversation. He just wants to continue to try to cancel, right? And it's evident here. This is this was a month before that post, asking, like wishing for the Star Wars community to bully me. Trailer trash and Canadian, double whammy. Oh, whoa, damn. All right. If I was a mod, I'd suspend his and other accounts immediately. And it says blue sky is a cesspool of stupidity. So at one point, someone pointed out to me, sent me the information how he was going on to Reddit here on Blue Sky. And this is when he went and said, I'm leaving Twitter. I'm leaving Communist Plus Twitter, or not Communist Plus because that's what we say, whatever. But he's leaving the Nazi Twitter. Like he couldn't stay on anymore. So he did leave Twitter for a while. But during that time, he was doing Reddit, Blue Sky, his YouTube community or whatever it's called, posting on YouTube, continuing on about me. I had no idea until I was given that information. And what was funny was when I was investigating Reddit, he was shot down. They're like, we don't bash others here in this EU community, blah, blah, blah. So he was shut down on that. He was shut down. Tagging Grambilia, the slimy toucan weasel he is. I did try to report him on Blue Sky. Wow. Okay. LK became insane and obsessed ever since JJ broke up with him. That's what I realized too, is that when you look at his history before, and this all happened when I started countering him. He used to be a huge supporter in Tim's, our United Spacers Alliance chat during spacing, when we were all on the panel and we were all going strong, talking to the stars and all of that. And he was a regular on Open Airlock Policy, now United Spacers Alliance. He was a regular in the chats. And then when I countered him and on some things and stuff, that's when he then started attacking more and more and more like that, and started going off like he is now and stuff. And he took the opportunity from what I said about what my theory is about Thrawn doing a formal declaration of war. He jumped on board with that. What is Lucky Kennedy's problem? I remember seeing him shit on Filoni in some YouTube comments and appearing on old United Spacers Alliance streams, correct? Is it troll remorse or what? I have no idea. Trailer trash Kennedy. And the image I shared of him, it's funny ass image, I didn't create. I didn't make that. I know who did. Not me. But I thought it was fucking funny. And the image looks entirely almost real. Do two wrongs make a right? No, it doesn't. But it doesn't dissolve him from what he's been doing prior to that either. All right, let's see here. So Kennedy wants the Star Wars fandom to bully you. Whatever happened to force out hate? And that's the thing. Oh, we're here to declare war on toxic fans. That's what another person said, which was fucking funny. And then goes and says, this is a shout out. Yet, okay, so toxic fans. You don't like these so-called toxic fans because they're bullying, right? Okay. So war on Lucky Kennedy too, then I suppose, but these guys are of the same, cut out of the same fabric, I guess you can say. All right. And let me see what else you guys are saying. I heard that there is no trouble on Blue Sky until these brats try to mess things up. I have no idea. I have never explored the platform, but when I know everybody started flocking over there after Elon Musk bought Twitter X, so maybe that's when everything started going on. I don't know. And I thought about then even creating a platform there for the channel, just having a couple of places, because Facebook is not that for me, for the channel. So, but then I was like, I barely made a Discord, and I had to think about it considerably because I'm a very busy person. I have my own businesses and stuff like that. And I'm very family oriented with helping my family, being engaged in it all, and all of that, and then traveling around to powwows and dancing and all this other stuff, So sometimes there's a lot of times my Discord's quiet. And right now you can see with my channel, it's been off and on with CAF chat and even producing any videos like lore videos and stuff because I've been so fucking busy. There's a few, like 4, I can count out 4 projects that's still being slowly created that I need to finish and get published here on YouTube and Rumble. So there we go. So, I didn't have the time and stuff to even consider a Blue Sky, just to have a platform there, just to kind of even out the playing game, I guess you can say, even out everything. I just don't have the time for that. It's amusing how hypocritical the so-called Star Wars fans are. Fans preach equality and tolerance while calling for fans to attack people who have an opinion and doesn't align with what they think correct. And getting something wrong and clarifying it, but yet then still staying with the narrative. And that's the reason why he didn't take my clarification, because he would then have to cease this attack, I guess you could say, if that's what you want to call it. And he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to let it go. That's the thing. I guess more power to him, I guess. He's probably going to tag the Birdman, aka failed voice actor Anthony West, next. Oh my goodness. All right. And you're talking about Hidalgo? Star Wars. Oh, let me see here. I bet OG Star Wars can bench press more than the Cucky Kennedy. He has anyone seen his liberal noodle arms? I need to get to the gym now. It's been a quick minute. This month has been like so fucking busy. I've done anything over other than yoga, but I wonder I could probably do more push-ups, both bicep version and tricep push-ups than him. Communist Twitter, hell, comrades. Blocking you and still talking about you is coward behavior. And if I find out someone talks to me behind a block about me, or if I decide to address someone, I will tag them. But I've learned how to get past, because when you're blocked, or you block someone or you are blocked, you can't quote retweet them. I learned to get past that. I learned how to quote retweet them. Okay, Disney Wars fans are actual toxic fans. The children of the sickle and hammer are monsters in nature. You don't have to create Blue Sky or any of them. No, I don't. I only hop on platform just to make friends there that I meet in real life. Oh, pretty cool. That's my Facebook. My Facebook is about family, is about me traveling around, dancing at powwows, keeping in touch with family back on my res and even in Colorado and stuff like that. And even friends I've made along the way and adopted family I made along the way through dancing, sharing my culture, all of that. I got one of his buddies, Justin Arvello, stalking me across YouTube, trying to mimic Melvin's hashtag method. Yeah, I aware of who that is. He's quite funny. He's a child or something, I guess. Or he has that child mentality. I haven't worked out in a few weeks. I'm ashamed of myself. Let's go, you guys. Let's all go work out and then check in later today. He probably has to do pull-ups like a girl. Pull-ups, push-ups, probably all that. All right. So, this is the state we're in. Every time a new show comes out or a book comes out, that's, we get wind on what's going on. That still is bullshit, I guess you can say, or your question, the lore about it and stuff like that. You then have people jump on to attack your opinion, your theory, your comparison, what have you. Now, have I countered other people about things? Yes, I have. We all have. They all have. But again, when we counter, it's bullying, right? Or it's attacking. I would say I'm the most civilist out of GKA, Gatekeepers Alliance, when it comes to having a disagreement. I will stay civil as much as I can until they apply an ad hominem, right? Until they start attacking character and stuff like that. Then I will then proceed to say stuff. And I've had many people point that out about me. And I think that comes to the nature of being a background investigator, investigating people and having to talk to them about what I uncovered. Because even during that time, during investigation, and you have uncovered things and you sit them down and stuff like that, face to face, they still are going to try to lie or cover things up. Then I would have to say, well, this, and this, and uncover the truth. You have to stay civil, professional. And that has always been my nature. You know, and I won awards and medals and stuff like that for my investigation and help reconstructing our department and stuff like that. And uncovering a gambling scam. So I think that's probably where that demeanor is. You know, it cracks me up and big, and I enjoy it. I enjoy it. But like when you see like purists or any one of them, like Melvin or any one of them, they just go all out. They don't give a shit. They don't give a fuck. They just go all out. And here I am keeping civility. And then finally when I go all out, oh my fucking God. That's so fucking crazy. But anyways, this is the state of what's going on now under the premise of Ahsoka having their teaser trailer coming out and then talking about Starfighter. Is that what it's called? I haven't even talked about that yet. And we might not, I don't know. But that the state of Star Wars under Disney is still the fucking same. You can almost predict it. Wash, rinse, and repeat. And I think there's one more thing I wanted to share. I've told you we're going to be here a little longer than normal. So let me go ahead and just stop these screens here so I can clear up some space. So let's see here. Whoops, I'm not inviting anybody out. Wrong button. Share screen. Okay, so which one do I want to talk? Okay, I was gonna play Grizzy's one of his latest videos about Ahsoka, but we're not going to. But I wanted to show this because I hopped onto his live a little bit late, and then I stayed on for his after party, I guess you could say, on Rumble. And so we know other, like our siders, or even those who countered us that seem to be on our side or whatever. This was shared, and I wanted to share this. So we know that these guys are watching us, and right now Grizzy has this spectacular thing going on that's creating a lot of attention towards what he's doing, which is fucking awesome, you know. And I'm like, damn, I need to really get back into my groove again. So he's inspirational on the contents that he is pushing out, creating his investigation, his research, all of this. And so, you know, inspirational to me because, you know, that's what helped my channel grow in the beginning and stuff, and life happens, right? And so you have the junk man here. I found out from Grizzy that less people watched Ahsoka 2 trailer than season 1. Okay, so is this a sarcastic, I guess you could say, reply or not? We don't know. We don't know with him, but however, he did do this, and this is what is being shown here. Ahsoka teaser trailer 3 years ago, 16 million views. Ahsoka season 2 teaser trailer, 4.7 million views. 4 days ago versus 3 years ago, still a lot. Now, has people stopped watching the teaser trailers after the 3 years? Yeah, usually I would like to say trailers are not viewed as much after the show starts coming out, right? So you're not interested in the trailers anymore. So there is a point here. There is a point here of less views going on than before. And then I wanted to share one more thing. And so it'd be good to see how and compare how the numbers going forward from 3 years from the this Ahsoka season 2 teaser trailer to get a clear assessment on the fans and the state of Star Wars right now. All right, so one more I wanted to share. I'm going to go ahead and remove this. All right, share screen. And which one is it? That's not it. Beer. Where did I do with it? Oh no, did I take it down by accident? I must have. I must have. Damn it. All right. Well, that one was something that I had to pull up, and I don't remember where I pulled it up at. So we're not going to talk about it. I may bring it up next Thursday. So stay tuned. Keep you guys in suspense. But it was something that I wanted to really, you know what? I know where I can find it. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Jeez, you don't want a woman to tell you that, right? It's not that hard. Let's see here. In fact, I did have it open for it. So now we got to find it. Man, we're going on 3 hours. Whoa. Okay. All right. Here it is. I'm going to share this because I think it's just something to take a look at. Again, talking about the state of Star Wars and what these people think about George Lucas. All right, so let's see if you guys agree with me on this. All right, so this is a comment to Robot Head. He's been having a back and forth. I've been keeping an eye on that with the response to Ahsoka season 2's teaser trailer and the state of Star Wars and stuff. So he says Disney reset everything back with The Force Awakens, which is true. It's like a soft reboot of the same movie, Star Wars: A New Hope. The Empire are now the First Order. The Rebels are now the Rebellion. This had the same ships, a desert orphan, a masked villain in black, the same stories rehashed from the OT. Disney hasn't given up one new idea since it started. Blaming the fans for Disney's disaster is moronic. And so Joe, Crazy Joe, says Disney and Kathleen Kennedy. Whoops, I was trying to. Is it going to let me? No, it's not. Sorry. Disney and Kathleen Kennedy has made more good, high-quality Star Wars than George Lucas ever had. So what do you think about that? Do you think Disney, Lucasfilm, has outcreated George in quality? Do you think that Disney, Star Wars, is in a good place right now? Hence, they outcreated in quality George Lucas? Or do you think they are delusional? So I'm going to leave you guys with this. Pure example of the state of Star Wars today. A lot of numbers show that the quality has diminished. This is a corporation. Corporation does not know the heart of Star Wars. The heart of Star Wars has since left a long time ago. That's George. And then once he did, the EU was tossed. So the whole building was taken down to leaving just the movies as the foundation. And since then, they have cracked the foundation, trying to build upon a foundation that the framework doesn't fit. And I'm just giving you an analogy here. And they continue to build upon something, a frame that doesn't fit the foundation. And, just like Mandalore with TCW and his thumbnail shows like trying to fit a square block into a circle. That's exactly what's going on. Now, that analogy of that image was made for TCW remaining in the original George Lucas era of Star Wars. It does not fit. It fits better in Disney, but that can be applied to how Disney is doing with Star Wars right now. So with that being said, I'm going to leave you here with this, with contemplating, thinking about the state of Star Wars here today. And maybe write something on Twitter and share it with me, with everybody, on what you think about the state of Star Wars is today, considering what's going on and how people try to excuse and use the Thrawn trilogy or Heir to the Empire for Ahsoka as if it's something that is revolutionary and they're honoring the EU and all this other stuff. And, so feel free to write your review on the state of Star Wars. I'd love to see it. Let's do it. Let's be the honest people here, the people who are coming out with an honest look and approach from the first time we heard about the buyout to about the tossing of the EU, the soft reboot of the OT Star Wars story with the DT, going forward. And even maybe for those who have talked about it prior to the purchase, the state of Star Wars under TCW, with TCW existing in there. I would love to see it. And let's continue to share what is so great, the heart of Star Wars, that is George Lucas era of Star Wars. And with this, thank you guys so much. If you're watching the replay, thank you for lasting this long. I would love to hear your review in the comments here. Leave it. And anything that you feel you want to approach or speak about, share below. Love to hear it. And with that, thank you guys for another year with me. You guys are fucking amazing. Another year around the sun. Now, no, this is not an anniversary of the channel. It's just my birthday. Like, my birthday passed just this last Wednesday. But thank you. You guys are fucking amazing. And I'm going to now go hang out with the family and relax. Now, I do have plans for this channel and also exclusives for Rumble. So not this channel just on YouTube, but on Rumble as well. So stay tuned. I mean, I've already said them before. So yeah, Power season is going to be coming to a closure here soon. Give me a little bit more time to really get into lore videos, discussions, all of that. All right, you guys. So have a good day. And may the force be with you. Oh, one more thing. We are still planning on Sith talk and stuff like that on Purist channel on Rumble. And everything goes well with him reinstating or returning back to YouTube. Hopefully we'll be there too. So stay tuned for more information on that. And here you go. There's this right here. So check that out. I'm going to be watching that as well because there's a little bit more content added to that. And have a good day. And may the force be with you.
I'm telling you, this finale, it's unbelievable how tepid contemporary art seemed compared to the passionate quality of this finale. So you have this like huge, like it's like romantic nature painting, apocalyptic landscape of the lava. Lucas cross-cuts the destruction of the Senate chamber, and you have the destruction of industry going on. And then, after all these horrors, it is so beautiful. I'm saying, oh my God, nothing in the last 30 years in any of the arts has been produced as emotionally compelling and significant as the finale of Revenge of the Sith.
Jedi is something that came a little later. When we started building Jedis, we had a lot of Jedis, and we needed more and more Jedis. As we were doing them toward the end, we ended up with a lot of Jedis that looked like people that worked at ILM, with these short little haircuts and looked like they stepped out from behind a computer. And so I was saying we have to get more exotic Jedis. And so we only have so much resources to do these things with, but I do have Twi'leks because we use them quite a bit in other areas in the Senate and as background action. So I have a sort of a wardrobe and a setup of certain kinds of characters. So it was a way of reinventing some of those characters. And I had realized that we had a comic book that has a Twi'lek in it that is a Jedi. There's a whole series actually of her. And I said, well, why don't we put her in this? I mean, she's a comic character, but we'll just fit her in and have her be a background character because that's exotic. That's how the Twi'lek Jedi ended up in the backgrounds of these shots, was to try to use some of the work and effort that the guys in the comic book world had put into things and characters they had created.
Another happy landing.